I could really think of other things I could be doing with my Saturday right now, like sleeping.
What you know about rolling down in the deep?
Welcome to a exciting episode of Things I Don't Feel Like Doing with Renzo. So on today's exciting adventure of what I don't feel like doing, I'm going to change a leaking water hose on my truck. Say leaking water hose, this is like no big deal, right? It is. In fact, if it goes out on the road and you don't know how to fix this, it could cost you thousands, maybe 1,000 or more, depending on who you have to deal with. So let's get it done. You're like, wait a minute, this isn't the auto parts store. I gotta get 2 gallons of distilled water. So got my distilled water. Now it is time for my next adventure, to go to the auto parts store. I'm telling you, I could really be sleeping right now. So last night I started the drain of the coolant system, and some dirt got in that bucket. So, but you can see this is fairly clean. This is actually fresh coolant. I just had the engine overhaul. See, this is the hose that I'm going to be changing out. Sandwiches in between the water pump, and more than likely, if you have to change this hose out on the road, it's probably busted. Mine was leaking. I had actually been tightening up these clamps, and I noticed that there was a small little leak no matter how much I was tightening up. So that just lets me know that these clamps are starting to cut into this hose. You can see it's kind of bowing and billowing out, so it's fairly old. It needs to be changed out. I'd rather do it now than risk it blowing while I'm driving on the road and having to do this on the side of the road. What I'm actually gonna do is there's an elbow that connects to that. It's got 2 bolts. I was able to loosen that up last night and start draining the system. The system's drained. Now it's time to finish the job I started. So in my case, to loosen up these 2 bolts that hold this elbow, and I'm gonna show you the elbow in just a second, I actually had to use this impact wrench, and I used a 5/16 Allen socket, and I guess that's a 5/16, yeah. So with this, I couldn't get the bolt loose using just this regular impact wrench. I used this bigger 1/2 inch one, and with this, I didn't really torque down on it much. I just tapped on the button. When I mean tapped on it, I just literally tapped it a few times and the bolts broke loose. It was simple enough. I didn't run them all the way out. I just wanted to drain. I didn't want to, completely undrain this because the engine was hot last night, and I didn't want hot antifreeze all over me. So, I did a slow drain on it. And yeah, it doesn't take much, but I definitely had to use this bigger 1/2 inch, this is an M18 Milwaukee, to get those 2 bolts loose. And I'll show you what those bolts look like in a second when I get up underneath there. So real quick, these are 2 things you will need to get this job done. Of course, you're going to need a new hose, and you'll need an O-ring for the elbow. I'll list the part number for this below. It was like 44 cents at Freightliner. but you'll definitely need to replace that. Don't have a part number for this because I've actually, well, actually, that's probably the part number right there. I've had this for years. I usually carry spares, so this is my spare, and I'll probably have to replace that. I like to carry spare hoses because you never know. Yeah, let's get back to this job. So here I am up underneath the truck, and this is the elbow that leads to the arm, or the little hose that I'll be replacing. I'm just going to loosen these up a little bit more. Tap on it on the top with the screwdriver before I get this fully loose, and then put a bucket up underneath it. That way it'll catch any residual coolant that's still left in the system. I can just get that on there. Alright, so now I'm going to place a bucket up underneath, and from the top I use a screwdriver to tap on it to get it loose, and that way I can catch any residual coolant that's left in it. So here we are, top side. I'm just going to take a screwdriver, put it in between here, just get it loose. Just two sides. Sure I got it loose enough. Let it drip out a little bit more. It's definitely coming down. And once I think I'm good, I'll go ahead and unloosen those bolts and let her flow. Yeah, how did I not spot that that hose clamp was going to be a problem? So here's the part. Thought I was gonna have to remove that hard line. You can see where it's cracked a little bit in there. So that's probably where it's leaking, because this is the clamp that I've been tightening up on, this inside clamp right here. So this is what I'll be replacing. And of course I'll scrape all this off. This is the O-ring gasket that you'll need, and I'll put a little bit of RTV sealant on it, clean it up, and should be good to go. So here's the part that's getting ready to go on. See, I've got a little bead of RTV sealant and the new boot on this end. Clamps, don't forget to put those clamps on, because you'd be real pissed if you get it up in there and the clamps weren't in place. Okay, I got everything in place. I'm getting ready to put the new boot on. I went ahead and cleaned off that top portion from the old gasket. So and she's in place. I'll start running the bolts up. Okay, that's one. I'll just give it a few taps if you're using this impact. Nothing too tight. This is the finished product. I would say all in all, it took about an hour, not including the drain. If you like this video, maybe I'll do some more series of things I'd rather not be doing, and this is one of them. Please like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.